Going live, live, live. For the first time in 2023. Here we are. Still on these social platforms. Another year arrives. But what really arrives? Nothing really arrives. Just another moment in this magical, mystical, wondrous now. The divine moment. So how are you out there? How are you? Where are you? Tell me if you're tuning in for anything longer than 10 seconds of the attention span of a gnat. Isn't that what we humans have is said to have now? Attention span of a gnat. I don't quite know how they know the attention span, but I guess it's very, 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 very small. So here we are. Where are you? How are you? Let me know in the comments. What a time to be alive. I titled today's live as Radical Discontinuity and Pattern Interrupt. Have you heard that term before? Radical discontinuity or pattern interrupt. It's a kind of intentional way of changing ourselves and of really, I don't like to say breaking habits, but I like more transforming habits. These past years of really being inspired by words, and words having power, and words having an energy, a frequency, and the way we use them against ourselves or towards others is it's really important, because they inform our cellular makeup, they inform our being, right? So when we break something, we don't want to break something. Breaking something feels quite aggressive and angry or violent. So when we say, I want to break habits for 2023, I want to break this, I want to break that, or I want to get rid of that, or kill the ego, or whatever it is. These words that we use, they're very violent. So I more like these loving words of transforming our behaviors, transforming our habits, transforming our addictions, and giving our inner children and our stubborn inner critics the medicine that it's actually calling for, which is often the loving awareness from ourselves. Pure loving awareness from ourselves. And pattern interrupting is a way that or radical discontinuity is, if you have any habits right now, regardless of whether the new year, forget all the kind of hype around new year and you must change things in new year, and then many people try that in the first months and then it doesn't happen, and then they feel disheartened and disappointed and let down because they haven't stuck to whatever it might be, stopping to smoke or stopping to drink or stopping to eat foods that they know doesn't serve them, etc., etc. But what I've noticed, and being on this last 5-week journey with the 11 courageous beings that I have been and still am journeying with, this last week of Illuminate is all about manifesting magic, or should I say manifesting with magic, and using meditation, self-pleasure, and symbols to really infuse and empower us so that we feel like we want to embody the changes that we're calling in. But not just by doing and forcing and trying, but actually by becoming. by becoming the change. So it's about feeling. It's about getting out of the head and into the body, and it's about feeling. And then when we're feeling and we're tapping into how we want to feel when something that we might want comes to us, we start to tune in to how we will feel now, before it's even come to us. Whatever it might be you want. Whether it's whatever. New relationship, changing your body size, or implementing, becoming more musical, or learning a musical instrument, or creating more peace in the world, building a village, learning permaculture, whatever it is that you might want to magnetize towards you. This practice that we're on is about really being it first. It's like, be the peace you want to see in the world, right? You can't go around expecting everybody to live peacefully and harmoniously when we ourselves are completely, attacking ourselves constantly inside, internally. So it's really about, becoming, being, doing, having, From being arises some actions of some kind, of course. From these actions arising, we go into experiencing and having and attracting what it is that we might need in order for other things to happen. But first, we focus on how we're being. And so this week we're working with self-pleasure manifesting ritual, choreography, journey, where you caress, touch and experience yourself, and you connect to yourself, and you raise your energy, you raise your frequency, you raise your emotional state, you move from survival emotions into creative emotions. And then you sit in meditation, and then you envision and you bring in the symbol that you've created, because there's a kind of magic symbol that you create yourself. And you bring that in, you bring that awareness in, and you tune into what would it feel like to be divine? What would it feel like to be whatever it is that you want to be? If it's a certain feeling that you want to be more grateful, to be magnificent, to be peaceful, whatever the elevated emotional state of being that you want to be, you really envision that in. And then after the meditation, you move again. Touching, self-pleasuring, dancing, breathing, shaking, and then you go through this process. And then linked in with that, we use the Joe Dispenza walking meditation, which is basically a very similar format, and that's where we were originally inspired by it, through his guided meditations. And we wove that into self-pleasure choreographies. And then you go out. So for example, tomorrow we'll go out and walk, probably a sunrise walk, listening to one of Joe Dispenza's guided meditations. And so what we're doing with these meditations, what we're doing with self-pleasure, what we're doing with any new habit that we want to bring in, is we're literally just utilizing the body in the way that it works already. It's no new science, no revelationary great understanding. It's like, how does a habit usually come into being? It comes into being through repetition. Yeah, you learn anything through repetition. I'm still learning to handstand, and you learn little different parts of the handstand, like how the hand works, or working on your core strength and so on. But ultimately, get up into the handstand. Practice getting up into the handstand. Get your legs up against the wall. Bring them down a little. You keep practicing. And then slowly the body starts to move and change. Yeah, it might seem like common sense, but I work with many beings and it's not easy to change. So tell me in the comments if you find it easy to change, or how you implement new and fun ways to rewire your subconscious and make the unfamiliar familiar. Because that's what we're doing all the time. We're rewiring ourselves so that we can live more in alignment to our truth, so that we're not so caught in the domesticated self that we have become. the conditioned, programmed being. We still will be that after, but we will make our decisions to program ourselves the way we choose to, from a more sovereign, self-loving, embodied perspective of our wholeness, our divinity, our creative potential, the fact that we are already divinely beautiful, we're miracles in flesh. You see the difference? Can you feel just the difference of that? So I can rewire myself and still play with the way that certain things work. We know how the program works. We know how this works or that works. But actually I can do it where I'm the one choosing how I want to really feed my subconscious. But that sounds, that sounds great. That sounds quite easy, no? It's not as easy as that. So we have to pattern interrupt. We have to be radical discontinuity. And one example of this is, just for example, if you wake up every day and you go and brush your teeth in the same way, and you walk down, if you're upstairs, you walk downstairs and you go to the bathroom and you know where your toothbrush is and you brush your teeth in the same way, and then, you put the toothpaste back the way you always do, and then you go about your day. Maybe you look in the mirror, you brush your hair, you tie your hair up, whatever it is, right? You have this kind of daily autopilot actions. And so many of our habits and addictions are that. They're just autopilot. They're just happening. Many of you may know, if you noticed, I noticed this myself, but touching the phone now, my phone finger starts doing its own thing. I've got a phone finger now. This is a phone finger. I have to consciously tell it to stop touching that. Stop touching other people's phones and stop going to these specific apps that you love to go to. Look, it's even off now. It's off. This is called phone finger. It's got its own. Wait, stop. Wait, stop. Hey, stop. We won't even stop. Phone finger. As soon as I bring him out, he's uncontrollable, this phone finger. So tell me if you're still with me, if you're watching this on a replay. Just tell me if what you're taking from this. What's coming up for you? Give me some interaction. I'm constantly talking to a screen, no? I remember a Robbie Williams song called Through the Lens or something like that. And it's like his whole life was looking through a lens. And I can relate. My life as an actor, and I love making videos and being photographed and so on. It's just like, the relationship with this lens, huh? Like, who's actually out there? Who's there? Just myself, yes. Aging in the best way possible. What's going on out there? Who's actually looking? Are you with me? Wow, did you stay this long? Is anything going in? Are you benefiting? Anybody out there? So instead of going down, you thought I forgot where we're going with this. Instead of going down and brushing your teeth, what about put your toothbrush in a different way, or brush your teeth with your left hand rather than your right hand? Yeah. This is what you change patterns, basically. It's all patterns. Everything's patterns. So you're changing your patterns. And it can start with these kind of small things. It doesn't have to be a big thing, but you just look at the way you are. Maybe you walk a certain way you don't want to walk. So you need to change certain things in your posture in order to change. So you just start implementing little changes. Yeah. This is the way it goes. So pattern interrupting. And I take you back to the part with the self-pleasure and the meditation. Many meditations will talk about symbols or mantras or focusing on a certain thing, So all we're playing with is what witches and many other beings have used, and many times is we cultivating our life force energy and then directing that energy into a symbol that represents something for us. And that it can be directed into wherever you want. You don't even have to have a symbol. Again, I'm not trying to teach you something that you need to use the symbol, but more importantly, the symbol is acting like an anchor for your transformation. It's like you're putting an intention and a prayer, which a prayer is an intention. So you're putting your intentions into this. So this symbol represents something for you. And so what we do is we work with 5 things that this symbol represents for you, and 5 feeling states that you will feel once you have received that which you're calling in. Yeah? And blessings, Vinny. Thank you for being here. Sending you love. Yeah, so does that make sense? So we're basically interrupting our patterns and implementing new patterns with more consciousness in the way that we would like them. That's it, really simplified. And we at the moment with the group that I'm supporting, we're using that with the meditation and self-pleasure, cultivating our life force and then directing it into creation. And of course, it doesn't just happen in 1 or 2 sessions. This is something ongoing. So once you have your symbol, you can use your symbol. You can position your symbols in different places. So you could have them in your, in your house, in different areas where you see it. It reminds you when you're making love with your partner or partners. You can bring in at the point of elevated emotion and energy. You can direct it into your symbol and, energize and supercharge your symbol. And then also you can have it in your car, for example. I'm just looking out there at my car. So you can have it on the dashboard on your car. That's where I'm putting one. And and this is it's like playing with the invisible, but playing also with the magic. It's a creative way of manifesting and visualization. And I'm sure, I'm preaching to the converted on here to many of you, but I hope my videos at times reach those that are really unfamiliar with some of the things I share as well. Of course, with the algorithms, it's quite hard nowadays, but we have to trust, no? Maybe you know somebody you can pass it on to. No worries, Lorna. Come back in your free flow. Maybe you won't. You know what it's like. We say we're going to come back. I have a folder of all the things I want to go back and look at, on YouTube. It's become so big now I just laugh every time I save something and put it in there. Go back to watch that. Must watch Carl Cease again. Must watch those 20 videos that this great person... And in the next moment, the next day, what happens? An array of information comes our way. It's like, and then we forget. How do we go back? Oh yeah, there was something Simon was saying one time in the past that I thought might be worth watching. Oh yes, then it comes back. So 2023, here we are, alive. Made it over the invisible threshold. Many didn't. Friends of mine died last year. I'm sure you knew someone that died. And who, even if you didn't know them, we're all interconnected beings. So our brothers and sisters, many of them they passed on, perished, left the body in the physical realm. So, burping water. So, pattern interrupt, radical discontinuity, radically changing the things and consciously moving yourself into different patterns to see how that feels, to create new habits and new behaviors that really you choose and that serve you. That was what this talk was about. And also, if you really want to, I'm doing a talk every day this week, and I don't know when you're going to listen to this, so when I say that, it's like I always think, don't say those things that when somebody comes back, they're like, this week, and they're like, is it this week? I'm watching it now. 5 years later, is he doing it this week? I watch videos of myself sometimes, 5 years ago, and you watch it and you're like, well, that's not happening now. So then I realize, oh, damn, I better take that out and take this out. Misleading people constantly with this information that's just floating around in the ether somewhere. So here we are. Deep breath in. If you watched from the beginning and you are inspired in any way, I've just put together a 23 days for 2023, a 23-day self-loving journey. And it weaves in there some beautiful practices, writing practices. There's a documentary to watch. There's breathing exercises, Soma breath, Joe Dispenza meditations, as I mentioned earlier, just some of the smaller ones. There's self-pleasure choreographies, some of the guided journeys that we use in the bigger training, and just weaving them in for you. And so, you have to commit to yourself a little bit each day, 30 minutes, 1 hour, depending. You don't have to do it every day. If some things come up, you can pop back, and in the program, it just works down. Once you've completed one, you move on to the next. But the key is, can you for 23 days commit to a loving practice? Yeah, that's all. Some practice that will support you to pattern interrupt, to radically discontinue what you've been doing in the past. Forget whether it's just about the new year or not, just like right now for yourself. And I've put together some questions, some exercises. I've got some money story exercises going on there, like writing our money story, writing how we'd like to move forward with a new money story. I've put some Kundalini yoga in there, a power yoga sequence that I love from a beautiful guy called Travis Elliott. So I've kind of designed a little eclectic mix of every day something different, woven in for 23 days. And then each week, we launch on Sunday the 8th. I'll do an open circle with whoever comes. And then every week, we'll have a little Zoom drop-in, just for an hour and a half, 2 hours, a little sharing, what's going on, how you're feeling, what happened with your practices. So I'm showing up on the live Zoom every week, and you'll have you plug into the community that I have online, so on the Mighty Network. So you also have access to an app so on your phone, so you can access everything through your phone. Very simple, very easy. Plug you into the group, and it's a closed group. And then once you're in there, you have access to all the exercises, and each one will open sequentially, and away you go. You just enjoy yourself, and if you don't want to do it in the morning, do it in the afternoon, do it in the evening, whatever. But each day, just bring yourself to yourself in a self-loving way. To remind yourself of your wholeness, to remind yourself of your beauty, just to remind yourself that you love you, that you are worth loving. And I called it, I am worthy, I am whole, I am worthy. I am whole and worthy. Yeah, I am whole and worthy already. So it's not, the invitation isn't just like, oh, you need to come because you need fixing and healing and all that. Some of these things may happen. You may feel that you need to change some things or fix some things in your personal reality. That's up to you. But I like to say more of this remembering that we're already whole, and then celebrating from that. Like when I don't like the word teach self-pleasure, but on some level that's what I've become, a bit of a sex educator, you could say. But it's more about like reframing pleasure, now reframing what self-love means, reframing what masturbation even means. Because when we're playing with ourselves, what we're really doing is we're playing like innocent children. We're playing with ourselves and caressing ourselves sometimes, and also not. We're breathing, we're moving, we're sounding, we're dancing, we're celebrating life. We're celebrating aliveness and our existence. So if you've got this far and it sounds inspiring, then join me. The links are either on my banner on Facebook, wherever you're finding this. You know how to find the links, either underneath this video or wherever. Facebook, Instagram, where I'm sharing them at the moment. Or if you're part of my personal Telegram channel, then they're in there too. And it's as simple as that. It's 123 euros or dollars, whichever. And I chose 123 because 123, here we go. And it's 2023 and 123 felt like a good number. So, and whoever comes. We'll have a little circle or a big circle, depending. And it's a very short notice. So it's only this, we start this weekend on the 8th, Sunday the 8th of January, 2023. So are you in? Do you want to do 23 days of you committing to you? If you do, I don't do any big sales pitching or, what's they called, the big sales funnel and giving you 25 reasons why you should do this and 25 reasons why it's going to change your life forever and be the best thing you've ever done. I don't really do that, unfortunately. Maybe unfortunately or fortunately for me, but maybe unfortunately for you, because you might be programmed in your pattern that need that. Like, what am I going to get from this? What's it going to do? It's like, it's as simple as this. You're going to commit to you every day and do something beautiful with you. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. You will love it or you won't, but it will bring up things for you. Who knows? It will be such a unique journey for all of us. But 23 days of self-loving celebration. So if you want to join me, come and hang out. And if not, maybe you just benefit from implementing some radical discontinuity and pattern interrupting into your life. Yes. May this next chapter, wherever you are, whatever stage in your own evolution you are in, be a joyous dance, a joyful exploration in the wonder of being. For those that have been here, a couple of you, thanks for hanging out. I know Vanit was here, Gracie and Lorna. Ciao.